This person is really special to me. I get to sing with her. I get to have joy with her. She's part of my spiritual community. But most of all, she is just demonstrating what it's like to be a mother that's raising two children, raising her children in a foundation of allowing them to emerge and burst forth into their own individual greatness. I mean, that's what we need, you know. And so this person I'm talking about, her name is Kelly Poland, and she's a compassionate soul who seeks to apply all of those ways of connecting with others with creative training in graphic design and spiritual training in energy medicine. Her vision for the world is one of authenticity. Get that? Authenticity. I like that word. She's a mother of two sons, consciously raising them from the heart. Kelly is a radiant light and a young shaman, bringing her gift of divine connection to the world. Her talk today is, apropos, Authentic You. Please put your hands together. Kelly Poland.
Hasn't this been a great day? Wow, lots of really, really great stuff and people I haven't met before. Yeah, it's an honor to be here, and thank you all for being here too. My invitation for you today is to burst forth your authentic self. And I'm going to tell you what that means and how we do that. I'm going to talk a little bit about what gets in the way, and then I'm going to invite you to do it. How's that sound?
Great.
Good. Okay, here's how my story starts. I was born perfect. Were you? I knew it. My soul knew I was perfect. It came in with a divine plan, knowing exactly what it wanted to experience in this lifetime. So it cued me in on that because it had the interests already installed, and it knew what resources to pull toward me and what people needed to cross my path. I was in joy, and I knew what it felt like to be an expression of God. And then I became domesticated, and maybe you did too. And this process of domestication that I'm talking about, it's so common in our world. It's that we don't see the flaw. We don't see the violation. So for me as a young child, it sounded and felt like this. Kelly, dear, I know what's best for you. Or you should be doing this. And the hardest one for me, and I was very hypersensitive, the hardest one for me was, you will be punished if you don't do what we tell you to do. So I heard all that and I took it in and I believed it literally, and I began to disconnect from my internal wisdom, the part of me that really knew what was best for me, knew where I needed to be on my journey. Are there any gardeners in the house? Anybody that likes to garden? So imagine I'm planting this imaginary garden here, and I've got some strawberry seeds, and I'm going to put them over here because I like fruit, and I like flowers too. So I'm going to plant some flowers, and I'm going to choose sunflower seeds. I'm going to plant these here, and I like shade, so I'm going to also plant a tree. So here goes an acorn in the ground. Now, what do these seeds need? They need a home that's safe. So I'm going to give them some soil, and they need nourishment, so water and sunlight, and I'm going to give them love, and they need time, right? Because right now they're just seeds. So they need time to grow into their fullest expression. So I give them all these things, and then what happens? They grow, right? So everything I have planted has grown. Now imagine if I said to these strawberries, gosh, I wish you were a peach. I would prefer that. What if I told my sunflower, could you be a little less showy? No, that would be ridiculous, right? Because we know what the seeds are. They're going to grow into what they're meant to become. And we appreciate what they become. Now, how do the seeds know how to do this? It's because they're pre-programmed, right? They come in with this coding already installed with the organizing principles that they need to grow into what they're going to become. They don't need outside instruction. They don't refer to each other and say, hey, how are you doing it over there? They don't need to be convinced what kind of seed to be, right? And so I'm going to suggest that we also are pre-programmed with our organizing principles, right? If God or Great Spirit or whatever that creative energy is that you want to call it was creative enough to give that information to the seeds, wouldn't God also give that to us? And I say yes. Yes, God has, and we have it. We just have maybe lost touch with it. Maybe we've turned down the volume of that. So, but the thing is that my coding, right, it's almost like an internal GPS system. My coding knows what I came here to be, which is different than what you came here to be and what you came here to be. So our coding is going to be a little different, right? So how does our guide, so this is what all of this I'm going to call the guidance system that's inside of us. How does our guidance system talk to us? So first, something catches our attention. You and I could be walking down the same street, and you notice one shop over here, and I notice another shop over here, right? Both shops were there the whole time. But our attention was caught by something different. And neither one is right or wrong, but it's just different. Then what happens is we start to get excited. Ooh. And maybe the shop you saw was a pet store, and you say, hey, let's go in. And you start, we see the animals, and you're starting to, like, your body's getting really jazzed up. And you feel your heart open. Maybe you're getting some downloads, some inspiration. That's your soul talking to you. It's telling you, hey, pay attention here. This is important. Sometimes that excitement also comes along with fear, right? Like some dance classes and things like that, right? But the excitement's there. Imagine I was with you and I came in the pet store together and I was just kind of neutral, maybe bored. That's actually my soul talking to me too. It's giving me some information saying, hey, we didn't come here for that right now. In this moment, that's not what we came here for. But absolutely, I'm going to celebrate it in you. You, my friend, have found this thing. You're excited. I'm going to honor that in you. The next thing that happens is it starts to expand. The universe takes what we got excited about and starts to give us opportunities to say yes and yes. And it starts to grow into something bigger. And if we follow the trail of those yeses and those opportunities, it leads us to our soul's work, to our life work. Now, part of my work, my life work, is to be a mom. And I have two boys who are 11 and 8. And my 11-year-old, hold on a second. My oldest son, from a very, very young age, maybe 3, started to show to us he's a financial guy. He is wired like a businessman. And it's so much fun to watch. And I can see it in him when he perks up, when he starts hearing somebody talking about money, or something financial. He wants to listen or engage. And he plays games that involve making money and buying and selling. And these are the things that excite him. And what's happening is he's gaining tools along the way. Tools that he's going to need in this lifetime because that's who he's programmed to become. Part of who he's going to become, right? Imagine if I said to him, if I started feeding him messages like, well, entrepreneurs are evil. Money's the root of all evil. That would be really harmful to him right now because his soul is clearly coming in with a different message. I came here for a different experience than that. So I want to be really careful what I might try to project or to teach in this way that's still putting my agenda on someone else. My other son's very different. He is showing us that he moves through life like an engineer. And his attention is caught by things with parts. And he wants to get closer and look at it, and how's what's connected, and he wants to understand things in that sort of way. That's part of who he's becoming. So it's really a joy for me to watch this. And then I start to think back to my own young self. Well, what did I want to do when I was really, really in a space of clarity about who I was and what I wanted? And the funny thing is that I remember that I really wanted to be a wife and a mother. And it was like in the depth of my being, and every fiber in my being knew that's what I was going to do. Whatever my career was, like that wasn't even in my radar. I was going to be a wife and a mother. And I recall, when I think back on it, I was interested in things that involved relationships. You know, I was paying attention to how people were connecting with each other. My soul was saying to me, this is important. Take this in right now. I wanted to play the games where there was relationship. You know, I didn't want to play Monopoly at all as a kid. I'm playing it as an adult now. Yeah, and I wanted to watch the TV shows or the movies. Those were the kinds of things I gravitated towards, the ones with relationships. And that's a really big part of who I am. My soul is getting to express that now more fully. And I recognize, oh, those were my early tool gathering. And now with my children, I do believe that being a mother is a big part of my soul's work, and sometimes I say I'm raising the next generation of conscious leaders, and I am committed to allowing their authentic self to show through without any interruption, without me putting any interruption in that. When I first became a mom, I made a little sign for myself that said, I know because my heart tells me. And it was so valuable for me to have that sign that I would see every day. Because when you become a parent, that seems to be the time in life where a lot of people want to give you advice. And what I've learned is that advice is not either good or bad. It's what I do with it that's important. And so someone over here could give me a suggestion, and my body's going to respond in one of two ways. And it might feel like it resonates. Oh, I feel open. I feel alive. That feels good to me. My heart's open. I feel relaxed in my body. That's my soul talking to me, saying, this advice, this course of action is in alignment with who I have come here to be. And someone over here could give me a piece of advice, and their suggestion, I respond differently. Maybe my body wants to repel it, and I feel closed off and contracted. Now, it's not that the advice is good or bad. It's that it's not in alignment with me right now. And so if I were to take that advice, I would actually be moving away from what my soul came here to do. But that advice could be perfect for another person. So it's really about listening and tuning into what's right for us. How does this feel to me right now? And so how is it that we listen? How is it that we hear this? Because a lot of times we're so distracted, we're not even paying attention to how we feel. It's happening right now, so I really need to be in this present moment. I can't be thinking about the future, thinking about the past, really being present in this moment. And it's happening in my body, right? For me to notice, how did my body feel when I got these two pieces of advice? I have to actually be in my body to feel that. Otherwise, I'm going to miss it. So I got to be in my body, really be grounded, be here. And then I go to my heart. What is my heart telling me? How does it feel? And that's how my soul is talking to me. That's how I'm getting this information about what's right for me on my path. That's my guidance system directing me. You guys feel like you're getting a sense of what that guidance system is and how it talks to us? I want to talk a little bit about what I'm going to call the pitfalls. And this is how we get interrupted, how we interrupt our soul's message So the first thing is that we stop listening to our guidance system. Now, why would we stop listening to our guidance system? It doesn't fit society, right? We have a culture that says there's a right answer, there's a wrong answer. That says, let's go into our heads and figure out what's logical, what's going to make sense. It has to be practical, you know? Or sometimes we're listening to the fear, right? So there's that excitement, and sitting on top of that excitement is fear, right? The excitement is coming from your soul. That's your soul. The soul speaks in inspiration. The fear is coming from the mind that says, whoa, if you do that sack soul talk today, Kelly, you're gonna, you know. I don't know about that, right? But when I was first invited to do this, I felt this explosive yeah inside me. And so the thing is, I've gotten really good at paying attention to these signals. So it's like, oh, okay, that's my soul saying yes, and my mind might be saying, I don't know about that, but so we stop listening to our guidance system. We start turning down the volume because we think that we need to be in our heads for the answers. That's what we're used to. So if we're not listening to our own guidance system, then where do we go? We start looking outside of ourselves for answers. I start saying, well, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? Right? And these people are going to tell me what they think I should do. But it's going to be based on their guidance system, right? Another pitfall is that we start to believe that our dreams are not important. And this is absolutely taught from someone outside of us. Someone somewhere along the way said to us, that's stupid. That idea isn't going to work. That doesn't make any sense. You can't make any money doing that, you know? And we start to take on this thought that what we were inspired to do isn't really that important. And I say, if Spirit didn't want us to do it, it wouldn't have put the idea in our mind. It wouldn't have put that idea in our heart, you know? We're inspired. If we're feeling inspired to do something, then it's because we have it in us to do. And I think, you know, a midlife crisis is a lot of times a signal of somebody has not been listening to their soul, and maybe they're a little off track, and the soul is saying, stop, get back over here, let's reassess what's important. What did we come here for? You know, a 3-year-old knows their dreams are important, right? And they don't get caught up in, well, what's practical or not. So they are my teachers, these 3-year-olds. They know where it's at. And then another pitfall is judgment. We feel judged and we judge others. And that just feels awful. Judgment also comes from the idea that there's a right way and a wrong way. And my response to judgment is just neutrality. Just be neutral, allowing others to be on their path, you know, allowing what needs to come forth for someone else to come forth without me saying, well, that's wrong. There's nothing wrong. There are no rights and wrongs. It's we're being true to our soul or we're not, you know? And so life, I think, is full of joy when we can be true to our soul. There's a lot of amazing stuff ready to burst forth when we're true to our soul. So I have a vision that I hold for us and the world, and it's that we put aside this version of what we think we should be, and instead we really just are ourselves, and we let our authentic self burst forth, and we celebrate the magnificence of it, just like these strawberries and the sunflowers and the big oak tree. Be as big as you came here to be. You know? Be as colorful as you came here to be. Or be as still as you came here to be. Whatever it is, show us what that is. And I would like to see us start talking to each other different. You know, that we start saying to each other, what does your heart tell you? And then we honor what that person says, you know? Yeah, they're tuning into their own heart to know what is right for them. How does that sound? You guys like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your heart will never lead you astray.
No, your heart will never lead you astray. Your heart will tell you every time if you're in alignment or not with what your soul came here to be. So before I close, I'd like to do an exercise where we can connect with our souls. How does that sound? So if you're comfortable closing your eyes, go ahead and close your eyes. And take a deep breath. And really feel yourself in the chair. Feel your body in the chair and feel yourself here right now, grounded. Invite any energy you might have that's somewhere else. Invite it back in. Maybe you're thinking about something else. Bring that back in to right now. All of you right here, right now. And then tune into your heart. And if it helps to put your hand on your heart, you can do that. And with the intention of connecting with your soul right now, inviting your soul to talk to you, ask yourself, do you have a message for me today? What am I called to do today? What brings me joy? And then listen. Often the answers from our soul come quickly and quietly. Sometimes I'll ask myself a question again because I think I missed the answer. And then thank your soul. Tell yourself, I love you. And that you plan to continue this connection. Coming back to this. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. How was that experience? I'm going to invite you to do this again and again and again. And if you have turned down the volume of your own guidance system, of your own GPS, this is a way to turn that volume back up. You're reconnecting, you're rebuilding that relationship, and you're saying, I'm listening. And remember how the soul's going to talk to us. It's in how we feel. So start noticing what you're noticing, right? What's catching your attention? What are you getting excited about? What lights you up? And how does something feel in the moment? You know, if somebody asks you something and you're not sure, give me a second to tune in. And then tune in. How does that feel? And you know it. You know it. Sometimes the head wants to trip us up. But again, the more we rebuild this relationship, the stronger those signals from the heart really become. I'd like to create a community and a world where we celebrate each other and our authentic selves. And instead of comparing ourselves to each other, we can look at the person in front of us and genuinely say, I see you, and you are perfect. And I think we would create a world, a peaceful world. And I think if we can respond this way to children know, they know what feels right for them. Let's honor that. Let's listen to them. And let's listen to each other. It's beautiful. So thank you all.
Thank you, Kelly. Wow, what an invitation. What a wonderful, wonderful talk. As she's inviting all of you to go back to that little child that knew what you were here for. So let's just take a break, a small break, and just take a moment and try to remember, what was it like Kelly said, what was it like when you were a child? What was your dream? And I believe if you speak it, it'll emerge. So go ahead, talk amongst each other. We'll come back in about, yes, you have some questions? Hold on.
I would like
Well, we can't hear you on the tape, so we need to get a microphone to you.
I would like Kelly to share just real quick her journey with her singing and her music, because I know it's been a beautiful one, if you don't mind.
Well, that's a long journey. So I remember as a child, along with being a wife and a mother, I wanted to be on Broadway, right? I wanted to sing, and I really wanted to sing. And then I didn't. For some reason, I didn't. And so it's been creeping in slowly over the last 10 years or so. And many years ago, I joined the Spiritual Life Center choir, which has been such an amazing community and given me a chance to reclaim that. Oh yeah, I want to sing. Oh yeah, I want to sing. And it just keeps growing. It keeps growing. That idea of expanding, right? That opportunities are coming to say yes, and I'm getting more chances to say yes to singing, and I'm getting chances to do more. In fact, I wrote on my card for the creativity that I want to audition, that I want to do like some, musical theater, because that's in me. Like that 7-year-old is like, we're Annie right now. We're Annie. We are. Yeah. So that's my soul that's saying, hey, stop ignoring me. This is important. Yeah. And it lights me up.
I know I was expected to ask that question.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Penny.
Anyone else? Yeah. Hold on a second. Go get out my.
Yes. Hi, Kelly. I just wanted to really acknowledge you, for your work in authenticity. And it really was the subject matter was dear to my heart, And I feel like what you're doing with your children, it just touches me so much to see your support, to support them in their authentic path, And because I had one parent who did that for me, another that gave me quite a bit of resistance in different ways, I had to push against sometimes. And I did, and I continued going for my path, but it wasn't easy, so I appreciate the level of support that you're giving your children, because it's something I would have loved to have a little bit more support from that parent who was kind of judgmental and resistant, thinking I wasn't probably practical enough for whatever my passion was at that time. So thank you so much for what you're doing. It was very inspiring, really touched me.
Good, thank you. And you know what, I think the world is changing. I think that pattern of what you're talking about is very prevalent, and it doesn't have to be that way. And so we're ready for a shift. We're ready for it to change. And so that feels like that's part of my work right now, and I know I'm not alone, that is shifting. So thank you for
thank you.
recognizing.
Anyone else? Be shy.
Over here.
I just wanted to hear one or two words about your shamanic work.
Penny's being directed, huh? But download. Yes, so I've been on a path for the last 10 years also with around energy medicine, and I've totally been doing it for myself. And I'll learn something, and then I do it for myself and my family. And it's been very much in this safe container that I have. And this past couple years, I've been through shamanic training with the Four Winds, and Spirit's giving me a really big kick, like, okay, stop being quiet about this. Really step into this, be this, be this in the world, right? And so, that's what I'm doing. It is birthing into what it will be. That, So, and I think with that, I have business cards out there, and it's called Soul Song. And I think what I really want to empower people to reconnect to their authentic self. Very much what I was just talking about. So, yeah, it's bursting forth.
I was just going to say, it sounds like you're bursting forth.
Yes. Yes.
I think there was somebody else over here that wanted to make a comment.
Thank you very much for your discussion. It's lovely. And the path for moving towards these new children coming in the world in the last 10 years, they're so different, and parenting is so different. So thank you for that. And then does anybody else have share this observation? If you had black hair, you could be Joy in Pixels Inside Out.
Yeah, yeah.
So hi, Joy.
Yeah, you do look kind of like Joy.
Joy's a good thing.
Anyone else? So that's what we're talking about, right, Kelly?
Mhm.
Is like just stepping into who you are.
Yeah. Bursting forth.
Yeah.
Your
Bursting
authentic
forth.
self.
That's what this has been all about, is bursting forth into who you really are. And showing that gives whoever you showed that to permission to do the same thing. You know? And it really doesn't take courage. It really just takes you recognizing that you're honoring who you are. You're honoring your path. This is what you came to be. And it's unique, right? At least that was the takeaway I got.
Yeah.
Was that it's
Yeah.
unique.
Right.
So please discuss that amongst each other.